is a place.
No, home is a feeling.
Home is my motherland.
It's more where you feel alive and inspired.
Well, I think we're talking about the same thing, aren't we? Home is where our story begins.
What's your story?
Homesick at Home every Friday from 9 to 10 p.m.
on Radio Van 103.1 with Ina MK
and Rina D.
Shot City, I'm coming home again.
Good evening, dear listeners of Radio Van. How much we missed this studio. This is autumn and we're back with our new season. Rena John, hi.
Hello everyone.
How are you?
It's beautiful to be back. I missed you.
Really?
Yes.
Same here. How did you spend your vacation? Everything's good?
My vacation, it wasn't a vacation.
Okay. we know about that.
Yes.
You'll talk about
busy.
it later,
Yeah,
I think. Yes. You'll share about your news.
I will.
And of course, we're not alone in our studio tonight. We have a wonderful guest, Greg Hovhannisyan. He's an Armenian American entrepreneur, and we'll find out about him within the following 1 hour. Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome to Radio Van.
How do you feel on the red couch?
It's pretty comfortable.
Everything's okay?
Yeah, very homely feeling.
Nice. Feel like home? You're at Homesick at Home?
Yes, in this city, everywhere I feel like I'm home.
Oh.
Okay, now let's start from the beginning. Where were you born?
I was born in Yerevan, and I lived here till I was 19, and I moved to the States when I was 19 after graduating Yerevan State University. I went there not planning on staying there. It just so happened that I stayed there for the next 16 years.
Wow.
And 2 years ago, actually I decided that to move back about 4 years ago and was planning it. So 2 years ago, pretty much I've been here permanently and couldn't be happier.
So welcome back.
Thank you.
So you moved to the States to continue your studies.
I went there on a student program, but it's actually not a funny, but an interesting story. I didn't plan on staying there. I was coming back, but I'd already graduated. So my best friend, who I grew up with, decided to stay, and I just stayed there to try it out. Just once you stay, you kind of get sucked in, and you stay for a while. So
you were there alone. I mean, your family was here.
Yeah, I didn't have any family there. My family was here, and I was there with just my friends, and we the first couple of years really flew, and you don't.
And then
really,
the rest 14 years.
Yeah, and then the rest is like, okay, well, I did this, I should continue, and just one thing leads to another, and then you realize you're living there.
Wow.
The whole time, pretty much, I had like in the back of my mind that I am going to come back here, not come back, but move back. So I've been back and forth.
Yeah.
What was the hardest part to leave?
Family. Not seeing your family for a long time is the hardest part.
So your family lives there?
No, my family lives here. I mean, when I moved to the States, the hardest part was not being with my family. And actually, back then there was it wasn't that easy to call anytime you want. There was no, Viber, WhatsApp, or any of those things. So I remember the first year when we needed to call, we had to use the payphone, and it was costing like $1 a minute.
Yeah, the calling cards. And
Yeah, with the calling cards. So you had like 5 or 10 minutes to talk.
Yeah, we are that generation. I mean, nowadays they wouldn't understand what that is. But
It was there was actually on the street that we were on. We were renting a place, and there was a couple houses that were all students from like all over the world. And there was two payphones on that street, one on the corner, one in the middle of the street. And so everybody was using those. And whenever the phone rang, whoever was walking by picked it up
Oh, wow.
and just asked like who you're looking for, and we would go get that person.
That's very interesting.
Okay, so which countries have you worked and lived in besides America? And
Lived and worked only in America. I've been to other places, but just on vacation. But lived and worked there, and now here.
Okay.
and now we have to go on an advertisement break.
She does this twice.
Yeah, okay. Twice, I promise. Stay tuned. This is Homesick at Home. We have Grigor as our guest. He's going to share his life story.
Ina, I thought this was an English-speaking show.
Are we on air?
Yes. Every Friday night.
Homesick at Home. Yes, every Friday night we're here in our studio. Don't forget about this because we are back. This is Homesick at Home, our English-speaking show, and we're happy to be here.
Very much.
And we hope that this autumn will be a new period of positive news. So, our guest is Grigor Hovhannisyan. And let's speak a little bit about BANA, yeah? B-A-N-A.
Yes.
What is it? Business Angel Network of Armenia.
Business Angel Network of Armenia. So, before I start talking about it, I should give you the backstory. So, I'm the co-founder of Global M, which is an organization that works on improving the startup ecosystem in Armenia, because we see it like one of the best ways to for our country to advance in any direction is to boost the economic situation. And IT is the sphere where no one can influence it, meaning it doesn't know any borders, so it doesn't matter if we're landlocked or, our borders are closed and all that.
No borders.
Yeah.
With IT.
And on its own, it's been growing pretty well without any help. And so what Global AM does is implements projects, like we see where there's gaps in the ecosystem and try to fill them and to make the whole ecosystem better. So one of the things that was missing is a lot of the startups don't go any further because they don't get early stage financing. And anywhere else in the world, early stage financing is done by business angels. So that's why we started the Business Angel Network of Armenia, and we're working on getting local investors involved. So instead of building another building and renting it out or any of those, not very good business decisions, they can invest into something that actually has a great future. Okay.
Keep going.
So there is actually quite a few local business people that are interested. They came to our demo day last year in November. We did one and we learned a lot from it. So this year, October 30th is the date of our next demo day. And we gathered a lot of feedback from investors that visited the previous one. Also, in the meantime, made a lot of connections with international experts, accelerators, other business angel networks to get more expertise involved. So local investors know there's people with great experience, like some of them have been in it for 15, 20 years, or they have one of the most successful accelerators in Europe actually wants to partner up with us. The details are being discussed now. And also September 28th, we're having a guest. She's the director of Business Angels Europe. which is the organization that connects all business angel networks
Okay.
in Europe. So she will be visiting to meet with local investors and to give them the do's and don'ts of investing, and also advice on how to invest.
So this is a training, yeah?
This
kind
it's
of a
more
training?
it's a training /
Lecture.
info session. Just a couple words about her. She was senior vice president of American Express and other financial corporations. She advises governments of some countries on their economic policies. So
Okay.
now she's
So this is a great change.
Whoa.
she's coming to help us build up our network. And also we're trying to arrange a meeting with also the appropriate government officials with her.
Appropriate.
Appropriate meaning the ones that are actually working in the field.
Okay,
that
I
can
did that on purpose. I'm sorry.
actually, appropriate in general is right too.
So you're actually educating people in business.
Yes.
This is what the foundation is about.
Right.
This is what,
And so a lot of people, local business people, want to put money into IT. But they don't know how it works. They don't know how because they are not in it. If you're not in it, you don't really have a good idea on how that something that was pretty much nothing, just a group of like 2-3 people, grew to become a multi-million-dollar company within like 3 years. And that has happened in Armenia, and not just once. So there's cases to prove that that happens. And the more, as time goes, it becomes easier because even a few years ago, there was only like one place that startups could go to get some help, and there was only one investor, one venture capital firm. Now there's multiple incubators and there's multiple venture capital firms. But the thing is, before you get to them, there's a area in startups' life that's called the debt valley.
okay.
But this is where angel investors invest. That's why they are
Death?
called angels. They
Death
save them.
valley?
Debt valley, yeah.
Okay.
And
Angels and death, everything is
Right.
yeah. Spiritual.
We're talking about IT.
Yeah.
yeah, there's some terms that have dual meaning. So before you get to venture capital, you have to pass through the valley of death.
That makes sense.
And
Okay.
someone has to help you to get through that.
And
So in
these
the
are
beginning,
angels.
it's
Angels.
the 3 F's: fools, family, and friends, or
Okay.
friends, family, and fools.
Fools came in
Yeah, I
first.
promised I was going to say anything. So, but that money usually is not that much, and it runs out fast. So this is something that's needed here, and there's other networks that that just came up like in the last few months. But we don't look at anyone as competition because our goal is to advance the ecosystem. So we look at it as rising tide raises all ships. So the more investors, the more business angel networks, the more investors, more accelerators and incubators there are, the better it is for everyone.
So most of the investors are local investors.
We're working hard to involve local investors. We actually have a lot of interest from outside investors because Armenia as a brand for technology is becoming more known. So other networks, even outside accelerators, are coming to Armenia, like hunting for ideas and startups. But why our goal is to educate and get involved the local investors is because when startups get investments from somewhere outside, they take them there. So
Yeah.
they don't do any good to the Armenian
That's a good
economy.
idea.
But that's why we want to get Armenian startups to succeed with Armenian money. And only after they get to a certain point where, you have to open another office in Silicon Valley or this or that, and your investment is not like, 10, 20, 50,000, it's going into millions, then yes, at that stage we will get, it's okay to get investment from outside. And also for that reason, we're partnering with bigger networks, because like in other countries, like in Nordic countries, their tickets are in millions, meaning like every investment they do is millions. So if we partner with them, let's say we have a $50,000 investment here, and they get to a point where they need another few hundred or even a million, we already have partners that will be able to invest that money.
Wow, too much information.
Let's take a break.
That was a little too
Grigor,
technical.
when did you earn your first salary?
Salary? I worked at McDonald's. That was my first job.
Okay, so it
Yeah.
wasn't in Armenia.
No.
No,
I
okay.
did. The only time I worked in Armenia when I was in the last year of university, as intern at the bank, but I
Okay,
didn't get
so-
paid for
Yeah,
it.
so it was volunteer.
Mm,
Yeah,
volunteer.
it was
Yeah,
internship. Okay, so what did you do at McDonald's?
Everything. Actually, because my English was not so bad, they wanted me to work at the register.
Mm-hmm.
But I was getting frustrated working there because there's just too
Too
many
much.
different people. I had to talk to them, and I wasn't really a fan of talking to strangers too much.
Okay.
I asked the manager if they could just put me to make French fries or wash dishes, just anything that I didn't have to deal with anyone.
Communication.
Yeah.
Is this why you chose IT?
No, I don't consider myself being in IT because I don't even know the basics of programming.
Okay.
I look at it as a business or as a project, and I look at myself as the project manager. And project manager doesn't have to
Know all the details.
know the
Yeah.
details. They just need to be able to organize it. Actually, an example of that is a friend of mine who does have an IT company, who is a programmer. He, a few months ago, hired a project manager who had no idea, has never been in IT. She was just good at organizing. She worked at a gym before. So,
Yeah. I mean, you chose Armenia
yes.
to
or,
come
or
back.
Armenia chose him, maybe.
Well, first, Armenia chose me, then I chose Armenia.
You were chosen. And then you kind of went along with it. What are the difficulties of working in Armenia, doing business in Armenia?
Nowadays, I don't really see that many differences. One thing is doing businesses are in Armenia. We have a rule: we don't do anything that's for the Armenian market. We only do whatever program we come up with, whatever business project we start. It has to be a global project. So something that can be sold, or a
Anywhere.
service that can be used worldwide. Because Armenia as a market for a business is just it's
Too
not
small.
a big market.
Too small.
As far as doing business, I haven't ran into any difficulties to mention. Maybe I've just been lucky.
Well, that's very nice to hear, because a lot of people have different kind of stories to say, but it's nice to hear that you've never faced...
It would be wrong for me to complain because I haven't had any problems, and I mean we have to we've had different projects. We had to register businesses, but that actually has been pretty easy. I'd say it's been easier than... No, it's definitely easier here than it is in the States.
Why do you think it's like that? What's the reason for it?
I think a few years ago the system was changed to make it easier to register a business and to run a business it's all, some of the things are in one location, and the easiest part of it is when you're here, especially when if you're in Yerevan, if you have a problem, you just have to go to the next building. You don't have to either like call and stay on hold for 2 hours and not know if someone is going to answer you, or drive across the country to talk to someone.
Yeah, it's easier. Just kind of go. It's in the next block, and you say Achberjan.
Grigor, what do you miss the most about America when you're here? Except McDonald's.
No, I actually, believe it or not, I've never had a McDonald's burger. Never.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
Is
Never
that
You don't
had a
like
Big
burgers?
Mac,
is that
never
because
had
you
a
saw
burger.
what they put in there?
No, it just didn't look right to me from the beginning. The only thing I ate there was chicken, which is just a whole piece of chicken breast, and it's not mixed with anything.
Okay.
So,
Okay, so what do you miss?
friends,
People.
pretty much, yeah, people, my friends, my family there. I have cousins there. I miss them, and I lived by the ocean, so I do miss the ocean sometimes.
Dance
That's about
by
it.
the ocean. Do you have a motto in life?
I haven't thought about it. One thing that's work-wise, when I started business in America, so there was we got an opportunity to take on a big project, and my business partner was very afraid of it. Like, this is too big, we won't be able to handle it. So I always say, if anyone can do it, then we can do it too. And I don't know if that's a motto, but if it can be done, then we can do it.
Yeah. What's the most exciting part about your job?
Here is when I see the project or a person succeed because of something that we did. I just feel so satisfied
You
and
said
excited.
you said here. Was
Yeah.
it different in the States?
Yes, it's different in the States because it was a different area of work in the States. So in the States, okay, I'll
You should.
tell you shortly
Yeah, you
about
should,
my.
you should.
So I've done like million different jobs in the first couple of years, but I started working for a company that did electronics. I liked electronics since I was a kid. So they did like smart homes, audio systems, theaters. Just because I loved it, I left my job. I was sitting in an office in front of the computer, nice clean job. I started working on that. But then about a year later, we kept having disagreements with the owner of the business. So he would lie to the customers and then blame us technicians for any problems that occurred. So I said, I'm going to start my own business just to put you out of business.
Wow.
And that's what you did?
Yeah, 3 years later, they closed the doors. And they were one of the biggest companies in the area that did that.
Wow.
So my first goal was that, and then take on a project that's bigger than they have ever done. So we did that, and then like now I'm gonna jump over. Now my company, and I have two partners. I had one partner in the beginning, and we took on another partner. So now our company does work for the Department of Homeland Security. So any offices they open in our area, our company does all their networking and security. So it's when I look at it, it's at a level where that other company couldn't dream of.
And
Nice.
Armenia.
So that's what gets me excited about
That's cool.
working there. And my life pretty much revolved around work when I was there.
I mean, Armenia should be grateful to your boss because look at where you are now and look at how Armenia could benefit from those disagreements and conflicts that you had.
As actually earlier today, we had students from Europe, from like different countries in Europe at our offices, and they were asking like, what do you need to succeed like mentally and this and that. Like it's different from everyone. For everyone, for me, as bad as it sounds, it was hate that made me succeed.
Yeah, the first step started that way.
Yeah, because my focus was on that. Money came after that.
You can make a motivation out of anything, basically. What's your horoscope sign?
I was going to ask that.
Areas.
Aries, okay.
Okay.
So, what do you do for fun? Do you have free time?
Yeah. Friends, family. I don't drink much anymore.
Hobbies? Do you sing in the shower?
That's not a hobby.
I don't.
Is that a hobby?
Actually, I don't.
Okay, any hidden talent?
It's not
the one
considered
hobby
as a
that I
hobby.
have here is
Depends.
I play strike ball, airsoft.
Okay.
So on Sundays with friends we go shoot at each other.
No, okay.
That's what we do. Last Sunday we were at a abandoned building near Sevan. We dress up in military uniforms and protective gear and start shooting each other.
Do you like extreme bungee jumping?
I'm afraid of heights. Yeah.
Now we know
I
your
don't go on
phobias.
roller coasters.
Okay.
But I did do zip line.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was it hard to overcome this
I got up there and
I wasn't looking down.
no, actually I got up there. I was like, I want to get back down, and the guy just pushed me.
Okay.
But once he pushed me, I was fine. I was like,
You're going
great
down,
time.
you're going down, you're going
Like,
down.
okay, I might die, but might as well have fun now before I fall.
See, that's a nice approach.
I like that. That should be your motto, It's nice. I like that. Are you married?
Yes.
Children?
Not yet. We have a boy on the way.
No? Congratulations.
Great.
Thank you. I got married last year.
Okay.
Here. Of course.
Now he's blushing.
Yes. What's your wife's name?
Anna.
Hello, Anna.
Hello. Is she watching? I'm sure she is. She's
Anna,
listening,
hope-
watching.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, what is love?
What is love?
We sing it every time.
Hard questions.
For
I'm more-
you.
Oh, we have harder ones.
Oh, okay.
We're just preparing you step after step.
It's like the zip line.
When you care about someone more than yourself.
Nice. It wasn't hard. It wasn't that hard. Can you name 5 things you love the most about Armenia?
People. Yerevan.
Mm-hmm.
5 is too many.
Chorova.
I'm like, actually, I have this argument with a few of my friends about food and everything, and I always say, food is just a necessity for me. I don't like enjoying food and sitting for an hour at the table. I just find it a waste of time. Unless you're at an event and having a good time, and you just have to be around the table.
So you don't have a favorite Armenian dish or...
No, not really. The favorite food for me is food that's made at home. Doesn't even matter what it is. I like to eat at home. I don't like eating out. Probably because
You've done it for many years.
I've done it for so many years. Even like here, if there is food right next to me that's from a restaurant, I still prefer to go home and eat something.
Homemade at home.
Yeah.
Okay, what is home?
Home is...
And where is your home?
My home is Yerevan. I don't know, what is home? It's where you feel at ease. where you're comfortable. For me, when I'm here, I sleep well.
Mm-hmm.
Just going outside, like even when you go out of the house, you still feel like you're home. So it doesn't matter where you
Yeah.
are, you feel like you're home. And that's how it is for me here. And I guess, United States, where I lived in New Jersey. So that feels home to me too. It's like my second home.
Okay, so you know what it's like to feel homesick at home. Do you feel
Uh,
homesick for New Jersey here?
I do sometimes. I don't know if it's because of. I don't miss New Jersey. Again, it's because of the people that I have there.
Mm-hmm.
But even now, like, we were on vacation, and we were only there for a week. We went for 3 weeks. I just had this anxious feeling. I wanna come home.
So is the reason the same, that you miss Armenia because of the people here, or is it something else?
I don't even know what
He
it is.
sleeps
It's
well
like
here.
it's everything together. I
He
guess.
doesn't care about the food. He sleeps well. That's
Yeah.
it.
No, it's everything. Everything combined, and even when like people are rude and all that, I'd rather that than fake smiles.
Okay. Talking about rude, what would be something you could not tolerate in people that makes you angry or nervous?
What makes me angry? If one thing that makes me really angry is I don't know how to explain.
People who ask too many
I think-
questions,
I
you know,
think-
like
it's,
us.
when someone gets bullied undeserved or
okay.
hurt undeserved, someone that
Yeah.
really pisses me off.
Yeah.
That's one thing I won't tolerate.
But he told about one other thing that made him angry was that his boss.
The unfairness makes me
and that
angry.
was very
Lying.
productive.
He was a liar.
lying,
Right?
being unfair to people, that makes me angry. And there's people react to you the way, like, from the way you approach them.
Hmm.
So let's say you go to a store or any place and you see, the employee is sitting there with a miserable face. If you approach them with a smile and a nice word, their attitude changes right away.
He's being positive.
I'm actually not a positive person. I'm just saying that, it's simple things that if people do, like, it makes a lot of difference.
Yeah. Yes, that's true.
What would you change about yourself?
I told you it's going to get difficult.
Be a little more active, not procrastinate. Yeah,
I
that.
see what you're saying. I'm a
We
big
have a
procrastinator.
Bit of that everywhere.
When you have so many things happening at the same time, it's hard to concentrate, and then that brings you to procrastination because you're not concentrated and busy with one thing. So that's a big problem I have.
Okay, you say that you've been here for 2 years.
Yes.
I mean, you moved back 2 years ago. Nowadays, Armenia nowadays, what do you think about it? What has changed? Has it changed?
Actually, I see so I've been coming to Armenia every year since 2009,
Okay.
and pretty much every time I see changes, good changes. Even in daily life, even like the way people drive, the way
Oh, really?
businesses work,
He was
stores.
telling us a story, remember?
So I see positive changes. They're not happening as fast as I'd like, but they're still happening. And with a friend of mine, actually, a few months ago, we were having like a philosophical conversation, and about why there's countries that that they are in worse situation than Armenia. But people still want to work. They stay there. They are not running away. And we're trying to get to the root of the problem. Why, like the general conception is, everyone just wants to get out, is because they've lost all hope. They don't see a future. So the one big change with the changes that we had in May, and this doesn't even matter what the government does, but the attitude of the people, like the hope woke up in them. So the attitude has changed to a more of a positive note. They don't want to run. They have hopes now. They want to stay here, and that actually influences a lot of things people do in daily life and work-wise.
Do you have a dream?
You're stealing my
Sorry.
Do I have a dream? I have a lot of dreams.
Okay, can you share one with us?
I mean, you came back with a dream. This was a dream. I can sense it. The way
I
you
want
were...
to see Armenia as a place that not only people that live here don't want to live, but others look at it with an envy.
Wow.
That's what I'd like to see.
See what that boss did to him?
Yeah. What did they do to you?
I think they just lied. I don't like liars.
Okay, do you have any hidden talents?
Hidden talents?
I mean, do you like to sing? Do you...
No,
Do you play an instrument or write? Or...
So I took piano lessons for about a year, but then I stopped, and till now I regret it. So I can play like just a little bit. But one day, I'm going to get myself to start learning again, because
that's a dream
That's
or a
great.
goal?
It's a wish.
Okay.
Oh, he's good with words.
Okay, are you an optimist or a pessimist or
I'm a realist.
I knew that the third
I'm a
option
realist.
was
I look
coming.
at everything with the
Project manager, what do you expect?
cold point of view. I look at it from both sides and then try to come up
with a solution.
with a solution. Being too much of either one is wrong. Just if you're an optimist, that's great for your life, but at the same time you're not judging the situation realistically.
But they say that every person have their own reality.
Yeah,
Depends
some people's
on-
reality is really far from reality.
Well,
But
that's true, but depends on how your attitude is.
It's
towards
wish for the best, prepare for the
Things.
worst.
Expect the worst.
That's how I like to do things.
Yeah. That's
So being an optimist and a pessimist at the same time.
That's a fusion.
do you have any interesting stories about working in Armenia?
Or America, maybe.
Or America.
Funny stories, maybe.
Interesting or funny.
Or weird.
I have to think about it. Okay, let's talk about something else. I'll remember something.
And while you're thinking, do you have any upcoming projects you want to talk about?
Well, right now I'm just working on the Business Angel Network. So September 28th, as I said, we have a very important event, and October 30th, it will be the demo day for the Business Angel Network, and we invite everyone that's interested
So it's
to
open
join.
to public.
It won't be public, but anyone that's interested
Can subscribe.
can
Yeah.
get an invitation.
Okay.
So how do they do that? If someone's listening right now and they're interested,
Okay, so our website is bana.am, and all they have to do is just go and hit join us.
okay.
fill in their name and email.
Okay. And for those who were listening while you were trying to explain what it is that you do, how would they, like, if they want to know more information through the website, or could they contact you and have meetings?
They can contact me. My phone number is actually on the website.
Okay.
And we're taking a little bit of a different approach from other networks that... so in general, people get together, people that already know each other for the most part get together and start a business angel network. And they just say, okay, startups, send us your applications. We'll see if any of you are interested. We do it differently. We have a personal approach to the investors. And we look for the startups. We don't wait for them to come. And we have a good relationship. We have partnerships with all the organizations in Armenia that have anything to do with startups. So anything that happens, any new things we know about firsthand. And also what we do is we ask our investors what they are interested in, what their investment size would be, and try to find startups that have the potential to be very successful, and also that match the investors. So we do all the work in the background to create the perfect match between the startups and investors.
So what would be a very, let's say, trendy or successful business nowadays?
It can really
for investors in Armenia.
It can be anything, because now, technology is in everything. So you can find a solution to do anything better than it's done now. For any kind of a business,
especially in Armenia, because it hasn't spread in a way it should.
We look at Armenia more as a test market. So because it's really easy to reach people here. It's if you have something good, the word will spread. Of course, it's Armenia, so everyone will know about it very quickly.
Yes.
So it's a good test market, and if it's not, again, we don't want anything that's concentrated solely on Armenian market, because it's just not going to do much.
And even the Armenian market cannot survive without advertisement. I would like to remind everyone that this is Homesick at Home, our very first episode of this season. And we have a great opening with exciting news on different...
Very positive.
Very positive, very realistic, and very informative. Our guest is Grigor Hovhannisyan, and he'll be with us for the following 10 minutes. Stay tuned, and I would like to remind that you can watch us live on our official Facebook page, which is this is our website, www.radiovan.fm, and also our official Facebook page, Radio Van. And you can also download our application and listen to us anywhere on the globe. Stay tuned. This is Homesick at Home. Steven's gone. Rafi's gone. Rena, Asa. What am I gonna do?
Well, dear, that's the way men are. Maybe you should try a woman.
What? Rena, kezi chegaf.
Ina hangazdatsi. I meant as a co-host.
Vay. Homesick at Home.
This is how we do it. It's Friday night.
Yes, it's Friday night, and this is how we do it.
Of course.
Achtu, Rena. How are you?
Bye.
Bye. Okay, we're back with our dear guest, Grigor, and we have a couple of more questions before we finish. Are you ready?
Sure.
What would you take to a desert island?
Water?
You have that there. No?
But you can't drink salty
Well,
water.
You can drink
kind of-
salt water.
okay.
A knife?
A knife? Everybody says that.
Knife to kill.
Okay,
Because you always have to have one with you.
do you have one now?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And the third thing, the book. Which book would you take with you?
Book?
No
I don't
gadgets.
like reading books, actually.
No phones.
You forgot to say your wife.
Oh,
Well, it's not what.
it's not a what, it's a book.
Very smart. Both of you, very smart.
Okay, what is your most valued trait in people?
Honesty.
See what happened
Honesty.
because of dishonesty.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
value honesty.
Where does one's freedom start or end?
When you make decisions based on your beliefs and act on them, you're free. If you're influenced by anything on your decisions, then you're not.
Wow. I like
Okay.
that. Yeah.
Write that down, please.
I like that a lot,
And
actually.
influence can be a person or can be social networks or anything else, doesn't
Social
matter.
opinions.
Or a project manager.
Arena.
I'm just trying to get in,
Okay, would you like to speak about differences between the American people, the Armenian people, or
So
in
the
any
one
sphere?
big difference, especially in the beginning, and was that in a couple words, there is life in people. Here, there it's more, everything is so institutionalized,
Robotic.
and like what I said before, like I would rather someone be grumpy because they are grumpy on the inside than give me a fake smile. And you don't really know what's behind that. This is one thing.
You don't know what to expect.
Yeah, and there is few that, of course, it's not everyone.
Yeah, it's
There is both sides, and in America, people live their lives kind of, for the most part, in their, like, they don't go out of their area or their comfort zone.
Like in a cocoon.
Yeah, and actually on that, I got a funny, not funny, but a story.
Finally.
So the
finally
first-
he
started.
remembered.
So we were renting an apartment in a house. An old lady owned the house. She was Irish. She was like 70 years old. I know that because we bought her a gift for her 70th birthday. But anyway, so she lived in Philadelphia her whole life. I mean, where I lived is only an hour away from there. So she lived in Philadelphia her whole life. And the only time she's been outside of between Philadelphia and New Jersey is one time because she's an Irish Catholic. The church organized a trip for them to Ireland. That's the only time she's been outside of there. She had never been to New York, which is 2.5 hours drive. She's never been to Washington, D.C. And that's kind of the definition of a lot of people. They do the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
And I just can't get that. Like, they work the whole year. They have 2 weeks vacation. They go to the
Repetitive.
same hotel every year. They get the same room. They spend their 2-week vacation and they leave. And it's very disconnected. Even the way, like, houses are, for the most part, it's separate. Everyone got their own areas and stuff. As annoying as it is when your neighbors make noise, you still feel, I feel more comfortable here.
Wow.
So that's it, just in general, like in your daily life. There's mosquito flying.
We have a second guest.
Yeah. I think it's
So,
planning on
It's,
attacking me.
it's an Armenian mosquito, don't worry. Okay, so do you have a question
Oh.
to ask?
Do you have a question for
do
us?
I have a question?
Ta-da!
Its question is about the show. What was the most interesting moving backstory the reason before moving back that was like...
The most interesting for me. You've had more shows than me.
We've had so many,
Yeah.
so many touching stories. I can't even.
Each
think of
has
one particular
a
thing.
different essence and a different flavor to it. I mean,
Okay.
because all of the people who have moved back have decided to make something work where there was less hope than where they were.
I'd say,
Okay.
repats, for instance, diaspora,
Mhm.
representatives of diaspora, more or less have a same kind of story.
Mm.
But I just thought of Russian girl. Remember, we had her on air, Alexandra.
Yeah, like that.
She came to Armenia because
Yeah.
she read a book by Narine Abgaryan, Manyunya.
That
Mhm.
inspired her to come and see the
She
place.
just read this book and she decided to come to Armenia, and she lives here now. She works at the health ministry, and she has
Okay.
And she's not
business
Armenian.
here. Yeah, she's not an Armenian at all. She's a Russian girl.
That's
so.
like people should know more of those stories. I think I actually
Yes.
myself
Of course.
still read about like the Armenian Repat Network
Mm.
puts the stories online of different repats, and when they give their reasons, when you're in it, you don't really look at it. But when someone from outside, you look at it from their perspective, then you start appreciating it more.
This is one of
Yes.
the points of our show.
Yes.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we're out of time, and I told you that this was going to happen.
Yes.
Because once we start to have this honest conversation, and
We want more, we want more.
Yeah, we find out that we still have so many things to share, but we're out of time. Well, that's maybe a good thing. Another opportunity and another motivation to see our guest again. This was Homesick at Home. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you for having
It was
me.
a
It was a
pleasure.
pleasure.
Same here, and thanks for sharing the opening of the season with us.
It
Stay
was honor.
stay safe, dear listeners of Radio Van. Have an amazing weekend, and we'll be back with you next Friday.
Good night.
Good night.